Hi, first and second grade. I want to start off by telling all of you that I miss you very much, and I'm really sad that we're not in school to make art together. But I'm happy that everyone is staying healthy and safe at home, and we have all these other ways that we can make art together, like with this video. So what we're going to do today is we're going to revisit, which means we're going to go back to something that we learned about a couple weeks ago. You probably remember, if you're in first or second grade at Washington Montessori, that we walked into the art room and there were things all over the tables. Anybody remember what that was called? I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and I want to see if you can think really hard about what that was called before I say it. If you guessed still life, you were right. A still life is a picture, a drawing, or a painting of anything that isn't moving. And usually they're a collection of a couple different things. Sometimes artists will put fruit in them, sometimes they'll put plates. They'll really just put anything that isn't moving. So here in front of me, I have a group of things that I found around my house. I have a shoe, I have a coffee mug, and I have a plant that I had on my windowsill. And I picked these because it was a combination of easy things and difficult things. And I'm really excited to draw the plant in particular because I like that it has all of these different colors and different things coming out of it. So I'm looking at this still life arrangement that I put on the table, and I'm going to just start drawing whatever part I feel like drawing first. I had this pencil at my house, so this is what I'm going to use, but you can use a pen, you can use a crayon, you can use whatever you want for this, because we are just going to use whatever we have at home to be creative as artists while we're stuck at home. So I'm going to start drawing the shoe, and I'm going to draw the part that I put my foot in first, just because that's where I feel like starting. If you decide to draw your shoe, that doesn't mean you need to start there. And then it's got this little part that comes down, and this heel part right there. And then the next thing I'm going to draw is this little mug. And I'm looking at the picture, or I'm looking at the arrangement, I'm looking at the objects in front of me, and I can tell that the top of the mug kind of is the same height as the shoe, maybe a little taller. So that's why I decided to put that right there. And then it kind of curves down like that, and it goes like maybe just behind the shoe. It's got this handle right there, and I'm not doing this perfectly, but I'm just going to keep working with my mistakes. There we go, even though this part kind of comes in front of that, because we are just making art for fun, and part of making art is learning how to work with your mistakes. Because I know you hear me say that a lot in art class, that's something we have to learn about. So I've got my shoe, I've got my mug, and now I'm going to do the plant, which actually I think is going to be the most fun part because it's got these crazy leaves that come up. I'm really excited to draw those crazy leaves. So there's part of the ceramic pot that the plant is in. And then here we go. This is the fun part that I was excited about. Here's all the leaves. So I see there's one that kind of goes behind the cup, and then there's one that goes right over it. And if I had an eraser right in front of me, I would erase that right now, but we can wait for it later, or we can just leave it there because we can make those choices as artists. This one kind of comes up there, and then there's a bunch up here. Whoop, and it looks like the page is actually going to cut off the top of the plant, but that's okay. And if you have something to color with at your house, you can go ahead and color it whenever you think you're ready. And I think I might go ahead and color mine. Even though it's not totally perfect, I've still got this part that needs to be erased, but I'm just gonna have some fun coloring in this plant right now. So I've got green, and even as I'm looking at it, I can tell that there's different colors of green in there. There's different shades of green. So I have this light green, but there's also some dark green in there. And I'm looking through my colored pencils to try and find a nice dark green. There we go. There we go, there we go. I'm gonna color in my darker green on there. And there's even some little sprouts coming up on the sides that I didn't even notice before. And I'm just gonna kind of have fun making my still life. So here we have our finished still life drawing. You can see I like to use a lot of different colors. So the shoe that I used was black, but I decided to make it blue because can I do that as an artist? Absolutely. And whatever you want to do with your still life is what you decide to do with it as an artist. Before we end, I want to show you a still life by someone whose name I hope that you recognize. His name is Salvador Dali. And I know in some of the first and second grade classes, we took a little virtual field trip to his museum in Florida. And he made this still life a little differently. You probably remember, if you're in one of the classes that went on the virtual field trip, that he was famous for doing things a little differently. And in this still life, he took all of these different objects, this bread and this knife and all these things that would normally be still, and decided to paint them as though they were moving around. And I like it because this is him taking what would be a normal still life or a typical still life that you would see in a museum, and he's making it his own unique thing. Just like I decided to make my still life my own unique thing by changing some of the colors a little bit. So your challenge today, first and second grade, is to find a couple things in your house and draw a still life of those things. It can be anything you can find. I just picked this mug and this shoe because that's what was there, and I thought that because the mug is kind of, it doesn't have a lot of colors on it, that it might be a little easier for me to draw. If you finish one and you would like to send it to me, you can send it to me at my school email, which I'll put in the video description, or you can text it to me on Class Dojo. And anyone who sends me their finished still life drawing will get 2 dojo points. I hope you have a safe and a healthy rest of your couple weeks here, and I really look forward to seeing all of your still life drawings. Bye-bye, first and second grade.